Welcome to the Eclipsed Rich Story channel, where I share stories with everyone. If you enjoy these stories, please save and subscribe. The son's male confidant's child broke the wife's dressing table, causing many cosmetics to be broken, but he framed the son for it. The wife was furious and locked the son in the room without food to reflect on his actions. I was on a business trip and repeatedly instructed my wife to let the son out, no matter what, to let him eat first. The wife promised wholeheartedly, but turned around and hid from me, taking her male confidant and his child out to travel. A week later, when she came home, she was dumbfounded at the sight. With a loud noise, the dressing table fell to the ground. Many bottles and jars were smashed on the ground, a mess everywhere. The son was stunned for a moment, looking helplessly at the culprit, Yang Yichen. Yang Yichen obviously didn't expect that just a gentle bump would cause the table to fall. Looking at the chaotic ground and the obviously expensive bottles and jars, he began to panic. No, I didn't do it. Yang Yichen shook his head, denying in a panic. But my wife and I had already heard the noise outside and were preparing to come in to see what had happened. What's going on? What's the big noise? What fell? I was a bit puzzled. Who knows? I don't know what Yi Qingao is up to again. I said don't let them play together. It would be bad if Yichen was corrupted by him. I think he's in trouble again. I pursed my lips, listening to my wife's belittlement of my son, feeling a bit uncomfortable. But there was nothing I could do. My wife has never liked Qingao, nor me. I followed my wife to the door of the room, just about to see what had happened, but I heard Yang Yichen's voice. Qingao brother, what should you do if you knocked over Aunt Sue's dressing table? Why don't you go and apologize quickly? I believe Aunt Sue won't blame you. My heart sank instantly. Did Qingao really cause trouble? I looked at my wife next to me, and as expected, her face had become very ugly. The wife directly opened the door and rushed in. I was afraid of something happening, so I hurriedly followed. What came into view was the fallen dressing table and the broken bottles and jars on the ground, and the liquid that flowed out. What are you doing? The wife was furious in an instant, squatting down to see her loss. It's a pity, basically all broken. Nothing is intact. Slap. The wife slapped her son in the face, venting her anger. Seeing her hand raised high, I immediately stopped it. Lin Qingao, what are you doing? I let you play with Yichen. Is this how you play? Did I say you shouldn't touch my things? Do you want to die? The wife was so angry that she completely lost her mind. And Qingao was also scared silly by his wife's anger at the moment. Mom, it's not me. It was Lin Yichen who broke it. He knocked it over. It's not me. Lin Yichen immediately retorted. No, Qingao brother, didn't you say you wanted to show me Aunt Sue's cosmetics? Then you accidentally knocked it over. How can you say it was me who knocked it over? Children can't lie. You should admit your mistake. Aunt Sue won't punish you. Lin Yichen looked like he was wronged. I knew in my heart that this was not good. Sure enough, after hearing this, the wife became even more angry. Lin Qingao, how did I teach you usually? One cannot lie. One must take responsibility for their actions. What are you framing Yichen for now? It's all from your dad. Both father and son are such people with impure thoughts. Yichen is a guest. How could he knock over the table and still refuse to admit it? It's really cheap. This is also cursing me. Qingao was even more at a loss. The red mark on his cheek was very obvious. Tears welled up in his eyes. No, Mom, you believe me. It really wasn't me. It really was Yang Yichen who did it. I said it's not good. If I continue to say this, my wife will definitely be even more angry. She has always preferred Yang Yichen, and how could she believe her son's words? Keep arguing. Where did you read the books? Go back to your room. Reflect. I won't call you. You're not allowed to come out. Unable to do anything, Qingao had to go to his room while wiping tears. I looked at his back with heartache and sighed helplessly. I can only wait for my wife to calm down and then plead for my son. Yichen, come over. Aunt asks you, what exactly happened just now? Changed from the anger and sternness just now, the wife became gentle and pleasant to Yang Yichen. Auntie, just now Qingao took me to the room and said to show me Auntie's cosmetics. Then he accidentally bumped into the table and knocked it over. Auntie, don't blame Qingao. He didn't mean to. It's all my fault. It would have been better if I didn't want to see. I frowned, knowing that what he said was definitely not the truth. My wife has repeatedly ordered Qingyao not to touch her things. How could he take the initiative to show Yang Yichen? He must be lying. Moreover, this kind of tea speech is definitely adding fuel to the fire. He must have done it on purpose. But I know my wife's favoritism for Yang Yichen, so I didn't speak. As expected, the wife's face was very pleasant. Auntie knew you were the most sensible. Good. Scared just now, right? Let's go out and have a meal to make up for you. If Yi Qingyao had half of your obedience, Auntie would have been relieved. Alas. I was delighted in my heart, and my wife took Yang Yichen out, so I could quietly let my son out. I didn't have time to be happy, and my wife broke my hope again. Yi Xinghe, I tell you, Yi Qingyao must be punished, otherwise, he will always be disobedient like this. I was shocked. Su Qiu has made up her mind to teach Qingyao a lesson. I was anxious, but I could only watch them go out. Qingyao, Dad is here, are you okay? I rushed to my son's room door to ask about his condition. Dad, I'm here, I'm okay, but Mom's dressing table really wasn't knocked over by me. It really wasn't me. My son's voice with a cry came from behind the door with deep grievances. I took a deep breath and said, Qingyao, don't be afraid. Dad believes you. I know it's definitely not you who did it. Wait for Mom to calm down, and then we'll explain to her, are you hungry? Okay, Dad, I'm not hungry. Don't worry. My son's clever and obedient made me very distressed. Such a clever and obedient son, how could he be seen as naughty and full of lies in his wife's eyes? What bad things have Yang Yichen's father and son said about us in front of my wife, causing her to dislike us so much? I sighed, but I couldn't let go. I called a locksmith to make a key to the room. In case something happened, I could open the door. But I didn't expect the accident to come so quickly. When I received a call from my boss and was clearly asked to go on a business trip to another province, I was stunned. To be honest, I didn't want to go. The family's affairs were not resolved. I was very worried about my son. What would happen to him if I left? But I couldn't refuse. Recently, there is a vacancy in the higher position. The leader let me go on a business trip is also to value me. If it is done well, there is a hope of promotion. There is no way. I can only tell my son to be obedient at home. Dad has to go on a business trip. Dad, go. I can be by myself. Dad, don't worry. Qingyao's sensibleness made me distressed. Suppressing the sourness in my heart, I promised him. Okay, when Dad comes back, Dad will buy you Transformers. After that, I called my wife. Chiwei, I have to go on a business trip. Qingyao is still at home. I know you are angry, but if the child is punished and sick, it's not good. You come back after you finish playing. At this time, my wife seemed to be relieved, and she was in a good mood, and she agreed readily. You are going on a business trip? I know. I am his biological mother. Can I not take care of him? Really don't know what you are worried about. This child is spoiled by you. Got the wife's promise. I also breathed a sigh of relief, said a few good words, and hung up the phone. There is still time. I thought that since my wife will come back and open the door, I might as well make some food for my son now, to prevent him from coming out later and having nothing to eat. And what if he gets hungry and sick? I made some simple sandwiches and put them in the fridge, which can be eaten after warming up in the microwave. It was about time. I quickly packed my luggage and left the house to catch the high-speed train. When I arrived at the hotel and settled in, it was already very late. It was 12:30 at night. I thought about it and didn't make the call. My wife and son usually go to bed early. It's not good to disturb them at this point. Moreover, my wife promised to let Qingyao out when she came back. She wouldn't break her word. This is her own son. She must also care about him. I thought too much. Thinking this way, I fell asleep at ease. The days of the business trip were very busy, so busy that I didn't have time to call home. I made a call, but my wife didn't answer. But there was no different news, and I didn't suspect anything. Until Qingyao's head teacher called me and said that Qingyao had not been to school for several days. Dad, Qingyao hasn't been to school for several days. What's going on? A few days ago, Qingyao's mother said she wanted to ask for leave for him, but it's been many days, and I called Qingyao's mother, but couldn't get through. I was shocked. What's going on? How could Qingyao not go to school? I immediately called my wife, and all I got was the beeping sound of hanging up the phone. I was so anxious, but I found my wife's circle of friends. It was a photo of her with Yang Ying'an and his son, with the caption, "Magic City is really fun to play." What does this mean? Did she go out to travel with Yang Yichen's father and son, leaving Qingyao at home alone? Thinking that Qingyao might even be locked in the room alone, without food or drink. I was desperate. It had been a week. I don't even know if he is alive or not. I can't care about anything. I bought the earliest flight home. All the way, I was praying in secret, please bless my son to be alive. Before getting on the plane, I contacted a friend and asked him to go to my house to see the situation. But as soon as I got off the plane, I only received 2 words, mourn. I collapsed on the ground, unable to believe the message on my mobile phone. How could it be? How could it be dead? I don't believe it. Even if it's dead, I have to see the body with my own eyes. In the taxi, I kept urging the driver to drive faster, drive faster. I wish I had the ability to teleport so that I could get home immediately. When I arrived downstairs of the community, I found that there were many people, even the police. I had a bad feeling in my heart. I rushed home and found the police fiddling with a body. No! I rushed up, pushed the police away, and hugged Qingyao tightly. This is my son. You are not allowed to touch him. He is not dead, not dead. I roared like crazy, as if Qingyao could wake up this way. Xinghe, mourn. Qingyao's death was not an accident. The police will find out the truth. I don't know how Shuelin pulled me away in the end. I only knew that I would never see my child again. I have never hated like this moment. I have never wanted to kill someone so much. The hatred and pain of the whole world swept over me. I hate my wife's cruelty, and I hate my own weakness, hate my own powerlessness. Hate that I can only watch helplessly and do nothing. I regret it so much. If I didn't go on a business trip, if I didn't believe my wife's words, if I had made one more call those days, I could have found out about my son's situation. But I didn't do it. I am an accomplice in his death. Mr. Yi, please mourn. We will find out the truth of your son's death. A policeman came over and patted me on the shoulder to comfort me. But now I can't hear anything. There were many people outside my house. Most of them were neighbors watching the excitement, pointing at my house. This child was starved to death. Tut tut, it's so tragic. Yes, I heard that his mother went out to travel with another man. This child is really tragic. This man is also pitiful. His wife cheated. His son died. How can he live in the future? The gossip of passers-by was like a soft knife, stabbing me hard. The police finally dispersed the onlookers and took away my son's body. And I had to go to the police station to make a statement. After recording the statement, it was already dark. Xinghe, are you okay? Let me take you back. Shuelin looked at me worriedly. I know he was worried, afraid that I would do something foolish. I wanted to say I wouldn't, but I didn't have the strength to respond. Back home, lying on the bed, I covered my face helplessly and cried out loud. How could it be? How could it die? How could Su Qiyu not care about her son? Qingyao, Dad hasn't bought you Transformers yet. How can you not be there? Thinking of Su Qiyu, a wave of hatred surged in my heart. My son died because of her, and she was still playing happily outside. I called her. As expected, she didn't answer. But I won't give up. Today I must call her until she answers. The 3rd time, she finally answered. But the person who answered the phone was not Su Qiyu. Xinghe, what's the matter? Qiyu is taking a bath. It was Yang Yingen's voice. At this point, they are still together. Su Qiyu is taking a bath. How can I not think more? My hand holding the phone gradually tightened. I have something to find her. Let her call me later. After saying that, I hung up the phone in a hurry without waiting for Yang Yingen's answer. I was afraid that if I said more, I would reveal my emotions and let him see the joke. Although, he may have always regarded me as a joke. Su Qiyu's call came back soon, and I slowly picked it up. What's the matter late at night? Su Qiyu's voice had a trace of imperceptible guilt. Where are you? What does it matter to you? Why care so much? Aren't you on a business trip? I closed my eyes and took a deep breath and said the fact I couldn't accept. My son is dead, do you know? There was a moment of silence on the other end of the phone, as if I couldn't believe what I was saying. Yi Xinghe, I know you usually don't act like a person, full of lies. I also know you don't want me and Brothering to come out and play. But how can you say such a thing? Can you joke about your son's life? Yi Xinghe, you are really despicable and have no lower limit. Su Qiyu was furious. You locked him in the room. Didn't let him out. He's dead. Su Qiyu, I tell you, he's dead. Killed by you. I said this sentence with all my strength. Suchi was stunned for a few seconds before slowly speaking. No, it's only been a few days. Isn't it just 3 days? No, it's not. She didn't finish her words, but I couldn't bear to listen any longer. Why can such a heartless mother starve her own son to death? I don't know how I slept that night, or maybe I didn't sleep at all. In a daze, I seemed to see my son crying. Dad, I'm so hungry. I'm going to starve to death. Dad, I want to drink water. Dad, don't you want me? Xingao. I suddenly sat up, only to find myself covered in cold sweat. It turned out that just now was a dream. Although it was a dream, I know it must be Qingyao's real experience. He was really starved to death. Qingyao, Dad will definitely avenge you. At this time, the sky was just dawning, but I had no sleep at all, and naturally I couldn't sleep anymore. Instead, I went to the police station, waiting for the autopsy results. The deceased died 2 days ago. Just as we guessed, he was starved to death. Moreover, there was no food or drink in the room, so he couldn't hold on for long. The police seemed a bit reluctant to say this, which was too cruel for a father. I seemed very calm, but in fact, I was extremely sad. I looked at Qingyao's body for a long time, until a policeman came to tell me that the mother of the deceased was outside, making a fuss to see the body of the deceased. I came back to my senses. Mother, has Suchi returned? She came back just in time. As the person who caused the death, she's in a hurry now, pretending to be a caring mother. However, even if she didn't come back, the police would have arrested her. Qingyao, my son. No. Suchi saw her son's body covered with a white cloth and collapsed to the ground. Her hair was disheveled, her face was unkempt, and she stumbled in, her once charming face now full of tears, her enchanting almond eyes filled with bloodshot. Her expression was like madness. My child, how could you die? It's all Mom's fault. Suchi was crying and repenting. If I didn't know what she had done, I would really be deceived by her scene. Suchi, before I left, did I tell you to let your son out? I thought you would have a trace of conscience, worried about his safety. Let him out. I didn't expect you to lock him in the room for 7 days. Suchi, won't your conscience hurt? He is your own son. In these 7 days, did you never think of him once? I squatted down and looked her in the eye, asking one word at a time. Suchi's face turned pale with guilt in an instant. No, it's not like that. I just wanted to teach him a lesson. I didn't expect him to die. Xinghe, he is my own son. How could I want him to die? You know me. I'm not so vicious. Help me speak. She pleaded with me in a low voice. In the past, if I saw my beloved wife sitting on the ground in such a mess, I would be heartbroken. But now I only feel hatred. Suchi, you should take care of yourself. You killed Qingyao. This is an irreversible fact. The police will give him justice, and you wait for the punishment of the law. When Suchi heard my words, she suddenly raised her head. It seems that she knew she was about to go to jail, and she finally started to be afraid. No, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to. I didn't kill him. It wasn't me. Seeing me indifferent, Suchi finally showed her true face. Yi Xinghe, you useless man. How can you be so ruthless watching me go to jail? The police formally arrested Suchi on suspicion of intentional homicide. There were many onlookers outside the police station. Some locals came to watch the excitement, but more were reporters. Yesterday, when the body was found at home, someone posted it on the internet. A child starved to death after being locked at home by his own mother. What a sensational news. This matter has attracted a lot of attention from netizens. My God, starved to death. How heartless is that? Indeed, I heard that the woman had an affair and locked the child at home because she went out to travel and date with her lover. Where's the child's father? Why isn't he at home? There are countless discussions like this. In a word, Suchi is now famous. But it's a bad reputation. Not only that, netizens have also dug out photos of Suchi and Yang Ying'an. The two were very intimate with Yang Yichen, the child, as if they were a real family of 3. It also confirmed Yang Ying'an's position as Suchi's lover. His days are not easy now. The company heard that he had an affair with a married woman and was going to fire him for bad influence. But in the end, somehow, he didn't get fired and stayed. But even so, he couldn't avoid the strange looks and pointing fingers from most people. As for Yang Yichen, it's even worse. Children's good and evil are very obvious. For people they don't like, they will treat them with the greatest malice. He has also become a famous lover's son at school. But what about it? Does this pain compare to a millionth of Qingyao's? Unexpectedly, a video spread on the internet. On the road, a man stopped Yang Yingen's way. Who are you? Blocking the way. Don't you see there are people here? Before Yang Yingen could finish speaking, he was punched. Did you seduce my wife? Is seducing a married woman not enough? You also seduced too, you shameless thing. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. Yang Yingen was also scared at the moment. No, you are mistaken. I and Sister Qin are just colleagues. Brother-in-law, you are mistaken. I have no improper relationship with Sister Qin. Yang Yingen explained frantically, but the angry man would not believe his words. No improper relationship, then why would she offend other leaders for you, and also keep you in the company? Yang Yingen was not fired by the company because someone was protecting him. Beat him. As he spoke, several bodyguards in black rushed over and started beating Yang Yingen. I watched the video of Yang Yingen lying on the ground unconscious, and I felt a burst of pleasure in my heart. It's a pity that after a few punches, the police came and stopped it. Let him escape a disaster. However, next time there will be no such good luck. This video has spread rapidly on the internet. He is already a rat crossing the street that everyone wants to beat. Now it's even worse. This man is really awesome, seducing 2 married women. I think he deserves it. He is cheap, deserves to be beaten to death, destroying other people's families. He should die. By the way, where is his wife? Why have I never seen any news about his wife? Are they divorced? Yang Yingen has completely dared not appear in public. Even Yang Yichen was expelled from school. It's not enough. This is what they deserve. Yang Yingen asked to see Su Chuyu, and I got the police's consent and eavesdropped in the dark. Chue, I beg you, help me. Give me the money. I will take Yichen to live in another city. Anyway, your son is dead. What's the use of keeping your money? Do you want to leave the money to Yixinghe? He has treated you like this. Do you still want to leave the money to him? Yang Yingen's mood was extremely unstable. Unfortunately, Su Chi was particularly sober today. I won't give it to you, Yang Yingen. You are really good at it. Seducing me is not enough, and you are also seducing your boss behind my back. No wonder you are promoted so fast in the company. It turns out to be sleeping out. Bang. Yang Yingen smashed the table fiercely. Yes, I seduced others, so what? Do you think you are something? If it weren't for you being sensible and understanding, I wouldn't even pay attention to you. Now you are pretending. What? Did your son not die because of you? He was begging you, Mom. I was wrong. Let me out. Did you pay attention to him? You are more ruthless than me. Ha ha ha. Su Chuyu. The real devil is you. You killed your own son. The more Yang Yingen said, the more excited he became. Forget it, you are going to die, I will tell you. In fact, your dressing table was knocked over by Chen, but you are too stupid. You completely believed his words. As for the trip, it was also that I wanted your son to die. Deliberately proposed. He died well, died too well. He died, and your money will all be given to us. As soon as these words came out, everyone suddenly fell silent. Su Chu looked at Yang Yingen in disbelief and muttered, What are you saying? What are you saying? I blamed him wrongly? Did my son die because you deliberately wanted to harm him? Yang Yingen not only didn't get angry after saying this, but also laughed wildly. Su Chuyu, what are you talking about? Your son was ordered by you to be locked in the room. I didn't say anything. I even pleaded for him. How could it be me who killed him? It's obviously you. You are the biological mother. You locked him in the room and starved him to death. Ha ha ha. Su Chuyu, you're a devil. Your son will not let you go even if he becomes a ghost. Su Chuyu completely collapsed. She shouted hoarsely. Her wet hair was messy on her forehead, her eyebrows twisted together. She was breathing rapidly. Her voice had long been hoarse, her hands tightly clutching the sleeves that had been soaked with sweat. The veins on her arms were bulging. I saw her mouth twitch a few times involuntarily. Her lips finally couldn't help but tremble, tears in her eyes like a broken dam flowing down her cheeks. Yang Yingen's words gave Su Chuyu a fatal blow. Her son, because of her indifference and distrust, died. It was her who killed him. She was the culprit. No. I watched Yang Yingen laugh wildly and Su Chuyu collapse, my anger almost surging up in my heart. In my eyes, Both of them, along with Yang Yichen, are the murderers of Qing Yao, and none of them will escape. The police finally appeared at this moment, handcuffing Yang Ying'an. What are you doing? Why are you arresting me? I didn't commit a crime. Yang Ying'an seemed to have just realized what he had said. No, I was talking nonsense. I was provoking her. It's fake. Don't arrest me. Yang Ying'an defended himself frantically, but no one would believe his words. Whether it's fake or not, we will find out and won't wrong you. The police, expressionless, clicked on the handcuffs and took him away. At this moment, Su Chuyu had completely lost her mind, staring blankly at the direction of the door like a walking corpse. Qing Yao, my son, Mom is sorry for you. I painfully closed my eyes, covering my ears, unwilling to listen to these words. Every time I hear these words, I imagine the pain Qing Yao went through before his death. It must have been so unbearable. How did he manage to hold on? The forensic doctor said that Qing Yao had external injuries on his body, and there was no one else in the room. These injuries could only have been self-inflicted. It must have been too painful, wanting to end his life early, at least to suffer less. Yang Ying'an has been taken to the interrogation room. I heard Yang Yichen's voice. Dad, let go of my dad. He didn't commit a crime. You are wronging a good person. Let him go. I suddenly stopped in my tracks, staring coldly and terrifyingly in the direction of Yang Yichen, my steps halting. Yang Yichen naturally saw me too, instantly becoming guilty and afraid, not daring to face me. I forcefully restrained the urge to go up and kill him. No, I can't commit a crime. Qing Yao, such a kind child, wouldn't want his father to be a murderer. I fled, for fear that if I looked at him again, I would not be able to control my dark thoughts and impulsively take action. The news of Yang Ying'an's arrest spread, bringing this matter to a small climax. I said this man must be guilty of something, right? What about his son? No one to take care of him now. The above is a saint, right? This man is so bad. The child can't be a good thing either. Maybe the death of the deceased is related to him. I calmly browsed these comments, not knowing what I was thinking. Ding dong. The doorbell rang. I opened the door and found it was Su Chuyu's parents. As soon as they saw me, they knelt down to me. Xinghe, Mom and Dad beg you, for the sake of you and Yeye being husband and wife for so many years, let her go. Write a letter of understanding. At least let her be sentenced for a few years less. We are the only daughter of the old couple. If she has any accident, how can we live? I quickly pulled them up. No matter what, there is no reason for elders to kneel to juniors. But when I heard this, I was still angry. Isn't Qing Yao's life a life? He is also your great-grandson. Qing Yao is already gone. Let the deceased go. Those who are still alive have hope, right? I took a deep breath and tried to suppress the anger in my heart. In fact, I can understand the feelings of my father-in-law and mother-in-law. No one will watch their own child go to jail, and even face the risk of being sentenced to death. But I can't forgive Su Chuyu. Parents, I can't do it. She did something wrong. She has to take responsibility. If I write a letter of understanding for her, how can I face Qing Yao below? You know how he died. I can't do it. After sending away the two elders, I was in a daze again. Ever since my son died, I have been in this half-dead state from time to time. Soon, the case officially went to court. In the end, Su Chuyu was sentenced to 20 years in prison for the crime of involuntary manslaughter. And Yang Ying'an was also sentenced to 10 years in prison. The gavel fell, and the outcome was set. I also breathed a sigh of relief. Yang Yichen in the audience suddenly cried out loud. Obviously, the fact that his own father was sentenced to prison was too much of a blow to him. Although the eyes of the people around were sympathetic and disdainful, no one came forward to comfort and help. It is clear that most people will have prejudices against the son of a murderer. It's not bad enough to add insult to injury. How can they help him? Due to the high heat of this case, many reporters also came, and as soon as the result was announced, it was sent out. Many people also felt gratified. Such a person really deserves it and is not worthy of being a mother at all. I also felt relieved, and the big stone that was pressing on my heart was finally lifted a bit. Soon, I was stopped by someone. Looking at the group of reporters in front of me, I was very unhappy. Mr. Yi, how do you think about this matter? Mr. Yi, your wife killed your son? How do you feel? The reporters' questions popped one after another on my face. But these sharp questions were also like a knife, stabbing me hard in the heart. Looking at the reporters in front of me who have no conscience and only have blockbuster news in their hearts and eyes, I can't help but feel sad for myself. Sprinkling salt on other people's wounds is simply too cruel. I didn't answer anyone's questions, but pushed and squeezed out. Back home, I didn't feel the joy of revenge. Only emptiness and loneliness. Looking up at the empty house, I couldn't bear to cry out loud. Why did it end up like this? What did I do wrong? Suddenly, a hand patted my shoulder. I turned around and found it was Xuelin. I just called you. You didn't hear it, so I came in directly. After speaking, he pursed his lips. Xinghe, I know you are sad. No one will not be sad when encountering such a thing. I also know you miss Qingyao, but such a good child, seeing you so depressed now, will definitely be very sad. He must hope you can live well. Xuelin persuaded me for a long time. I understand the truth, but I need time to heal the pain in my heart. I chose a very good grave for Qingyao. That day, I brought a lot of transformers and put them in front of his tombstone. Qingyao, it's all Dad's fault. If Dad didn't go on a business trip, forget it. Don't say these. The transformers you wanted, Dad bought them for you. Will Dad buy them for you every year in the future? You will like them, right? You must live well in another world. Dad will always remember you, always love you. I chatted a lot until it was getting late, and then I got up and left. From then on, I will start my new life. Due to my outstanding performance and the company's sympathy for my experience, I was promoted quickly. Real life is going well, but I will still think of the son who died young at night. I have not remarried, nor have I had another child, although many people have advised me. I think I will be alone for the rest of my life. Yi Qingyao's extra chapter. I felt that when I was about to die, I was no longer in pain. Not only physically, but also mentally. My mother has never liked me since I was a child. She likes Yang Yichen. But I think I am much better than Yang Yichen. Why doesn't my mother like me? My mother always believes Yang Yichen's words. He is obviously lying. My mother locked me in here and didn't let me eat. I am so thirsty and hungry. My mother didn't allow me to eat snacks in the room, so there is no food in the room at all. What about Dad? Dad likes me. Why didn't Dad come to save me? Does he not want me either? No, he won't. Dad said he would bring me transformers when he came back from his business trip. Dad likes me the most. How could he not want me? It must be that Dad is too busy with work and has no time to come back. But Dad, I think I am going to die. I will never see you again. I really want to try my best to persist, but I have really done my best. I must look very ugly when I die. Will Dad be sad? I saw it. Dad was very sad. But after I died, it seemed that I had no mood. I also saw my mother. My mother was sentenced. I looked at all this with a face without expression, but I couldn't feel any waves in my heart. It's time for you to go. You have stayed here long enough. 2 people dressed in black and white came to find me. Is this the legendary black and white impermanence? All right, it's time for me to leave. Dad, I hope in the next life I can still be your son, but can I have a different mom? I want a mother who treats me a little better. Can my wish come true, right? Goodbye, Dad. I'm going to be reborn.